The champagne glass shattered against marble exactly 3 seconds before I face-planted into the most expensive wedding cake in Seoul. Not my finest moment. But here's the thing nobody tells you about running from loan sharks in 4-inch heels you stole from your cousin. Physics doesn't care about your dignity. Neither does gravity. And definitely not the 6-tier monstrosity of buttercream and gold leaf that was currently smeared across my face while 300 of Korea's most dangerous people stared at me in complete silence. I pushed myself up, frosting in my braids, and locked eyes with him. The groom. And sweet Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, he was beautiful. The kind of beautiful that makes you forget you're about to die. Sharp jaw, dark eyes that could cut glass, and a tuxedo that probably cost more than my entire existence. He stood frozen at the altar, his almost bride's hand still in his, but he wasn't looking at her. He was looking at me. Well, I said, wiping cream cheese frosting off my eyebrow, this is awkward. Wait, before we continue, my mom said this video won't hit 10,000 views or get 1,000 subscribers. Prove her wrong. Smash that subscribe button, hit the like, and comment where you're watching from right now. Let's show her what we can do. Now back to the chaos. The silence broke like a dam. Gasps. Whispers in Korean I didn't understand but definitely recognized as the oh shit, she's dead variety. I counted at least 15 men in black suits reaching for what I assumed were not business cards in their jacket pockets. Security! Someone shrieked. But the groom, this stupidly gorgeous man who should have been worried about his ruined wedding, raised one hand. Just one. And every single person in that room froze like he'd pressed pause on reality. His eyes never left mine. Everyone out, he said, voice low and dangerous, and holy hell, why did that make my stomach flip? Jae-won what? The bride started. Out. This time it wasn't a request. I watched in stunned silence as 300 people, including his almost wife, filed out of the cathedral like obedient children. The doors closed with an ominous click, leaving me alone with him and roughly 15 men who looked like they ate people for breakfast. I was so dead. So, I said, because apparently my mouth had a death wish, I'm guessing you're not happy about the cake situation. He walked toward me. Slow. Deliberate. Each step echoing in the now empty cathedral. When he stopped, he was close enough that I could smell his cologne. Something expensive and woody that made me want to lean in even though every survival instinct I had was screaming run. What's your name? He asked. Zara. The word came out shakier than I intended. Look, I can explain. You just destroyed my wedding cake, interrupted my ceremony, and ruined a very expensive suit. His eyes traveled down my body, lingering on the frosting-covered disaster that was my stolen dress. And you think you can explain? In my defense, I was being chased by loan sharks who want to sell my kidneys. I didn't know there was a wedding happening, and technically, you should have better security because I literally ran through your front door. One of his men stepped forward. Sir, should we? No. Jae-won's hand shot up again. His eyes were still on me, and there was something in them I couldn't read. Amusement? Curiosity? Murderous intent? How much do you owe? I'm sorry, what? The loan sharks. How much? My brain short-circuited. Why do you care? Because Zara, he said my name like it was something precious, which was insane because we'd met exactly 3 minutes ago and I'd ruined his life. You just gave me the perfect excuse to leave a marriage I never wanted. I blinked. I'm what? That wedding was arranged. Political. I was about to tie myself to a woman I don't love to secure a business alliance. He stepped closer, and I swear the temperature in the room rose 10 degrees. And then you crashed through those doors like a beautiful disaster and gave me an out. I'm not beautiful, I'm covered in cake. You're beautiful covered in cake. My heart did a stupid little flip. Are you insane? I just ruined your wedding. Best thing that's happened to me all year. His smile was slow, dangerous, and entirely too attractive. So I'll ask again. How much do you owe? $200,000, I whispered. He didn't even blink. Done. You can't just. I can do whatever I want. He pulled out his phone, typed something, and within seconds, my phone buzzed. I pulled it from my bra. Don't judge, the dress had no pockets, and nearly dropped it. Transaction complete. $200,000 deposited to your account. What the hell? I stared at him. Why would you? Because, Jae-won said, and his hand came up to wipe a smudge of frosting from my cheek, his thumb lingering against my skin. I have a proposition for you. If this is a pretty woman situation, I'm out. He laughed. Actually laughed. No. Though I appreciate the reference. His expression turned serious. I need a fake fiancé. Someone unexpected. Someone who can convince my family and business partners that I've fallen madly in love and that's why I called off my wedding. You're insane. Probably. His thumb traced my jawline. But I'm also very rich, very powerful, and very willing to pay you extremely well to play along. How well? $1 million. Plus expenses. Plus protection from anyone who might want to hurt you. His eyes darkened. And trust me, after today, you're going to need protection. My brain was screaming that this was crazy. That I should run. That this man was clearly dangerous and I was in way over my head. But my mouth said, what's the catch? We have to make it convincing. Public dates. Family dinners. Physical affection. His hand dropped from my face, and I immediately missed the warmth. And you have to move in with me. Starting tonight. Tonight. My ex-bride's family won't take this well. Neither will mine. You'll be a target the second you leave this building. He stepped back, giving me space to breathe, to think. So what's it gonna be, Zara? Do we have a deal? I looked at him, this beautiful, dangerous stranger who just paid off my debt and was offering me more money than I'd ever seen in my life. Every logical bone in my body screamed no. But I'd never been very logical. One condition, I said. Name it, Jae-won said, and the way his eyes locked onto mine made me feel like I was the only person in the universe. If I'm doing this, we do it my way. I'm not some docile little girlfriend who smiles and nods. If you want convincing, you get the real me. Sass, attitude, and all. His smile could have melted glaciers. I wouldn't want you any other way. Then we have a deal, mister. Wait, I don't even know your last name. Kang Jae-won. He extended his hand. Though you'll need to call me Jay for the cameras. I took his hand, and electricity shot up my arm. From the way his eyes widened slightly, he felt it too. Zara Williams. Though I guess I'm about to be Zara, the crazy girl who stole Korea's most eligible bachelor. Most dangerous bachelor, one of his men corrected from behind us. I'd almost forgotten they were there. Right, I said, suddenly very aware that I was still holding hands with a mafia boss in a destroyed wedding venue. So what happens now? Jae-won's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, and his jaw tightened. Now we leave. My mother just heard what happened, and she's on her way here with my entire family. He looked at his men. Min-ho, bring the car around. June, handle the media. I want a statement out in the next hour. Tell them I've found my true love and the wedding is postponed indefinitely. Postponed? I asked. Not cancelled. Trust me, if I say cancelled, there will be war. Postponed gives everyone time to adjust. He pulled off his jacket and draped it over my shoulders. It smelled like him, and I had to resist the urge to bury my face in it. Come on. We need to get you cleaned up before. The cathedral doors burst open. A tiny Korean woman in a designer hanbok stormed in like a beautiful hurricane, followed by what appeared to be an entire entourage of equally well-dressed people. Her eyes landed on me, then on Jae-won, then back to me. She started speaking rapid-fire Korean, her voice rising with each word. I whispered to Jae-won, I'm guessing that's your mom? Unfortunately. He stepped in front of me slightly, his body a shield. Mother, this is Zara. Zara, my mother, Park Hygiene. Mrs. Kang switched to perfect English, her eyes narrowed. This is the girl? The one who destroyed your wedding. The girl I'm in love with, Jae-won said smoothly, and I nearly choked on air. His mother's eyes could have frozen hell. Love? You met her 5 minutes ago. Actually, I said, because my mouth apparently wanted me dead, it's been at least 10 minutes now. Every head in the room swiveled to me. Jae-won made a sound that might have been a suppressed laugh. Mrs. Kong studied me like I was a particularly interesting insect. You have frosting in your hair. Your son has excellent cake. I met her gaze, refusing to be intimidated even though my knees were shaking. Though the landing could use some work. A long, terrible silence. Then his mother smiled. Actually smiled. I like her. Mother, Jae-won started. She has spine. That's more than I can say for that insipid girl you were about to marry. She waved her hand dismissively. But if you think I'm going to let you parade around with some random girl you just met without proper vetting, you're insane. She's not random. She's poor, his mother interrupted, looking at my stolen dress. Which means gold digger. Hey. I stepped forward, and Jae-won's hand shot out to steady me. I didn't ask for any of this. Your son is the one who fell in love at first sight? His mother's eyebrow arched. How convenient. You know what? Screw this. I started pulling off Jae-won's jacket. Keep your money. I'll deal with the loan sharks myself. Jae-won's arm wrapped around my waist, pulling me back against his chest. His lips were suddenly at my ear, his breath warm. Don't you dare. Shivers ran down my spine. His mother watched this exchange with calculating eyes. You have 1 week. For what? I managed to ask, very aware of Jae-won's hand splayed across my stomach. To convince me this isn't a disaster waiting to happen. 1 week with my son, under my supervision. If you can prove you're not after his money and that you actually care about him, I'll give you my blessing. She smiled, and it was terrifying. If you can't, you disappear. Permanently. Mother, that's not. Those are my terms. Take them or leave them. I felt Jae-won tense behind me. Before he could argue, I said, deal. Everyone stared at me. What? I shrugged. I've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. Plus, I've never backed down from a challenge. Mrs. Kang's smile turned genuine. Oh, I'm definitely going to like you. She turned to leave, then paused. Jae-won, bring her to dinner tomorrow. 8 p.m. sharp. And get her cleaned up. She looks like she lost a fight with a bakery. I won the fight, I called after her. The cake died. Her laugh echoed through the cathedral. When the doors closed, Jae-won spun me around. Are you insane? Do you know what you just agreed to? A week with you. Doesn't sound so bad. My mother eats people like you for breakfast. Good thing I'm not breakfast. I'm dessert. I gestured to the cake frosting still in my hair. And clearly, I'm delicious. He stared at me for a long moment, then burst out laughing. Like, actual, genuine laughter that transformed his whole face from dangerous to devastating. You're either the bravest woman I've ever met or the craziest. Can't I be both? Apparently. He took my hand, threading our fingers together like it was the most natural thing in the world. Come on. Let's get you home. Your home. Our home. For the next week, at least. As we walked toward the exit, I realized I'd just agreed to live with a man I'd known for less than an hour. A mafia boss. In a foreign country. To fake date him for $1 million while his terrifying mother watched our every move. Yeah, I was definitely insane. But as Jae-won's thumb traced circles on my palm and he smiled down at me like I was something precious, I couldn't bring myself to care. So, I said as we stepped into the cool Seoul evening, does your place have a good shower? Because I'm pretty sure I have buttercream in places buttercream should never be. He stopped walking, turned to me. His eyes darkened with something that made my breath catch. Zara, he said, voice low and dangerous, you can't say things like that. Why not? Because, he stepped closer, backing me against his car, his hands on either side of my head. We have to make this convincing, remember? And the way you just looked at me? The things running through my head right now. His eyes dropped to my lips. We're supposed to be fake dating. Who says we have to be fake about everything? The words were out before I could stop them. His breath hitched. For one heart-stopping moment, I thought he was going to kiss me. His face dipped lower, his lips a breath away from mine. His phone rang. We sprang apart like teenagers caught by parents. Jae-won answered, his voice tense. What? A pause. How many? Another pause. Handle it. I'll be there in 20 minutes. He hung up, and his jaw was tight. What's wrong? I asked. My ex-bride's family. They're not taking the news well. He opened the car door. Get in. We need to get you somewhere safe. Define not taking well. They've put a price on your head. My stomach dropped. I'm sorry, what? 5 million won to whoever brings you to them. Alive, preferably. He slid into the driver's seat, starting the engine. But they weren't specific. 5 million, that's like $4,000. I'm worth way more than that. Despite everything, he smiled. Don't worry. I'm not going to let anyone touch you. How are you so calm about this? Because, he said, pulling onto the road at a speed that should have been illegal, I've been dealing with death threats since I was 12. This is just another Tuesday for me. Well, it's not a normal Tuesday for me. I was supposed to be job hunting today, not running from assassins. Consider this a career change. To what? Professional target. He laughed, and the sound eased some of my panic. To my fiancé. Much better benefits. Benefits like people wanting to kill me? Benefits like me protecting you. His hand found mine again, squeezing gently. I meant what I said, Zara. No one touches you. Not while you're under my protection. The certainty in his voice should have been terrifying. Instead, it made me feel safer than I had in years. So, I said, watching Soul fly by through the window, your place better have good security. Penthouse. Top floor. 24-hour armed guards. Bulletproof windows. State-of-the-art surveillance system. He glanced at me. And the shower has 6 jets and a rainfall head. Sold. We drove in comfortable silence for a few minutes before he asked, are you really okay with this? With everything that just happened? I thought about it. About my tiny apartment with the broken AC. About the loan sharks. About my dead-end job prospects and the student debt that would follow me to my grave. Then I looked at this beautiful, dangerous man who'd just paid off my debts, offered me $1 million, and was currently racing through Seoul to keep me safe. Honestly, I've had worse Tuesdays. He laughed again, and I decided I wanted to hear that sound as often as possible. Tell me about yourself, he said. If we're going to convince everyone we're madly in love, I should probably know more than your name. What do you want to know? Everything. So I told him. About growing up in Chicago. About my dad dying when I was 10 and my mom working 3 jobs to keep us afloat. About getting into Seoul National University on scholarship to study international business and then losing it all when my mom got sick and I had to drop out to work. About the loan sharks who'd promised to help with medical bills and then charged interest rates that made Godzilla look friendly. He listened to all of it, his hand never leaving mine. Your turn, I said when I finished. Tell me about Kang Jae-won. His jaw tightened. What do you want to know? Everything. He was quiet for a long moment. Then, my father started the Kang Empire. Import-export, officially. Less legal things, unofficially. He died when I was 18, and I inherited everything. The business. The enemies. The impossible expectations. His thumb traced patterns on my palm. I've spent the last 10 years trying to go legitimate while keeping the old guard happy. It's exhausting. Is that why you agreed to the arranged marriage? Partly. Minesio's family controls the ports. Marriage would have secured our shipping routes without bloodshed. He glanced at me. But I would have been miserable. And now? Now I have you. He said it so simply, like it was a fact. A beautiful, chaotic disaster who crashed into my life and gave me an excuse to choose happiness. My heart did that stupid flip again. We barely know each other. I know you're brave enough to crash a mafia wedding in stolen heels. I know you make jokes when you're terrified. I know you stood up to my mother without flinching. He pulled up to a tall building with security that made Fort Knox look cute. I know enough. A valet opened my door, and I stepped out into what was apparently my new life. Mr. Kong, the doorman bowed. Welcome home. Thank you, Park. Jae-won's hand settled on the small of my back, guiding me inside. This is Ms. Williams. She'll be staying with me. Make sure security knows she has full access. Of course, sir. The elevator ride to the penthouse was silent, charged with something I couldn't name. When the doors opened directly into his apartment, I forgot how to breathe. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked all of Seoul. Minimalist furniture that probably cost more than my education. Art that belonged in museums. It was beautiful and intimidating, and so far removed from my world I felt like an alien. Zara. Jae-won's voice was soft. You okay? I'm covered in cake frosting, standing in a penthouse that costs more than I'll make in my lifetime, with a price on my head and a fake engagement to a man I met an hour ago. I turned to him. I'm spectacular. He smiled. The shower's through there. Take your time. I'll have my assistant bring clothes that actually fit you. And then, he said, stepping closer, his eyes darkening again, we figure out how to make everyone believe we're crazy about each other. Method acting? I suggested. Something like that. His hand came up to cup my cheek, and my breath caught. Though I'm starting to think the acting part might be unnecessary. Jae-won. His phone rang again. We both groaned. He checked it and swore in Korean. I have to take this. Business emergency. Make yourself at home, okay? I nodded, and he disappeared into what I assumed was his office. Alone in the penthouse, I finally let myself process everything. I'd crashed a wedding. Made a deal with a mafia boss. Gained a price on my head and $1 million contract. All before lunch. My phone buzzed. My best friend, Keisha. Keisha, girl, where are you? You were supposed to meet me for coffee 2 hours ago. I stared at the message. How did I even begin to explain? Me, you're not going to believe this. Keisha, try me. Me, I accidentally crashed a mafia wedding, and now I'm fake engaged to a Korean billionaire who's paying me $1 million to pretend to love him while his mom tests me and his ex's family wants to kill me. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Keisha, are you high? Me, I wish. Keisha, send proof or I'm calling the cops. I took a selfie, still covered in frosting, standing in the ridiculous penthouse, and sent it. Keisha, Zara Marie Williams, what the actual fuck? Me, I'll explain later. Maybe. If I survive. Keisha, if you die, I'm keeping your shoes. Me, they're stolen anyway. Keisha, even better. I laughed, some of the tension leaving my shoulders. At least some things never changed. I headed to the shower, and sweet baby Jesus, it was better than Jae-won described. 6 jets, rainfall head, and water pressure that could solve world peace. I stood under the spray, washing away cake and fear and the last remnants of my old life. When I emerged, there was a pile of clothes on the bed. Expensive brands I couldn't pronounce. Everything in my exact size, which was either impressive or creepy. I chose impressive and pulled on soft leggings and an oversized sweater that probably cost more than my rent. Zara. Jae-won's voice from the living room. I found him standing at the windows, looking out at Seoul. He'd changed into dark jeans and a black t-shirt that showed off shoulders that should be illegal. Better? He asked without turning. Much. Though I'm pretty sure that shower cured diseases I didn't know I had. He laughed, finally turning to face me. His eyes widened slightly. You look like I raided your closet. Beautiful. The word hung between us. Jae-won, I started, but he crossed the room in 3 strides. We need to talk about boundaries, he said. My stomach sank. Oh, not like that. He ran a hand through his hair, looking uncertain for the first time since I'd met him. I meant what I said earlier. About the acting maybe being unnecessary. But we barely know each other, and you're in a vulnerable position, and I don't want to take advantage. What if I want you to? His eyes went dark. Zara. I'm serious. I'm a grown woman. I know what I want. I stepped closer. And yeah, this is crazy and fast and probably stupid, but when's the last time you felt something real? Never, he whispered. Me neither. I reached up, cupping his face. So maybe we're both crazy. But I'd rather be crazy with you than safe and bored alone. You're going to ruin me, he said, but his hands were on my waist, pulling me closer. Good. You can afford it. He laughed, and then his lips were on mine. The kiss started soft, tentative. Then his hands tightened on my waist and I threaded my fingers through his hair and soft became desperate. He tasted like coffee and something uniquely him, and I couldn't get enough. When we finally broke apart, both breathing hard, he rested his forehead against mine. Okay, he said. Okay. Okay to whatever this is. To not being fake. To being crazy together. He pulled back enough to meet my eyes. But we do this right. Dates. Getting to know each other. I'm not just going to. Jae-won, I interrupted. Yeah. Shut up and kiss me again. He did. This kiss was different. Deeper. His hands slid under my sweater, warm against my skin, and I melted into him. We stumbled backward until my back hit the window, and his mouth moved to my neck, and holy hell, the man knew what he was doing. We should stop, he murmured against my skin. Why? Because if we don't, I'm going to want to do a lot more than kiss you, and we agreed to take this slow. I'm terrible at slow. His laugh was strained. Me too. But he stepped back, putting distance between us. His eyes were wild, his hair messed from my hands, and he looked just as wrecked as I felt. Dinner, he said. Let me take you to dinner. Properly. Like a first date. We already kissed. Usually that comes after dinner. Then we're doing everything backward. Sounds about right for us. He held out his hand. Come on. I know a place. Will people try to kill me there? Probably. Sold. The restaurant was small, tucked away in a neighborhood I'd never heard of. No English menus. No tourists. Just locals and the smell of amazing food. You speak Korean? Jae-won asked as I fumbled with the menu. Barely. I know hello, thank you, and where's the bathroom? Essential phrases. I'm very practical. He ordered for both of us, and when the food came, it was the best thing I'd ever tasted. We talked about everything. Books, movies, embarrassing childhood stories. He told me about learning to fight when he was 8 because his father's enemies didn't care that he was a kid. I told him about the time I accidentally set my high school chemistry lab on fire trying to impress a boy. Did it work? He asked. He asked me to prom. Then it was worth it. We broke up 3 weeks later because he was boring. What makes someone boring to you? I thought about it. Playing it safe. Never taking risks. Living a life that fits in a box. I met his eyes. You're a lot of things, Kang Jae-won, but you're definitely not boring. Neither are you, Zara Williams. After dinner, we walked through the streets of Seoul, his hand in mine. People stared, a tall Korean man in expensive clothes with a black woman laughing at his jokes. But for once, I didn't care. Tell me something true, I said. About what? About you. Something no one else knows. He was quiet for a long moment. Then, I hate the life I was born into. The violence. The expectations. All of it. He stopped walking, turning to face me. But today, when you crashed through those doors, I felt free for the first time in my life. My heart squeezed. Jae-won. Your turn. Tell me something true. I'm terrified, I admitted. Of this. Of you. Of the fact that I met you 6 hours ago and I'm already in way too deep. Want to know a secret? He stepped closer. Always. I'm terrified too. His thumb brushed my cheek. But I'd rather be terrified with you than safe without you. You stole my line. Sue me. I pulled him down and kissed him instead. We made out like teenagers under the Seoul streetlights, and it was perfect and terrifying and exactly what I needed. When we finally made it back to the penthouse, he walked me to the guest room. You're not staying with me? I asked, trying not to sound disappointed. If I stay with you tonight, I won't be able to keep my hands to myself. His eyes were dark with promise. And you deserve better than me rushing this. What if I don't want better? He groaned. You're killing me. Good. I stood on my toes and kissed him one more time. Sweet dreams, Jay. Not likely, he muttered. I closed the door and leaned against it, trying to calm my racing heart. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Enjoy your last days with him. You're already dead. My blood ran cold. Before I could process, my door burst open. Jae-won stood there, phone in hand, murder in his eyes. Pack a bag, he said. We're leaving. Now. What's happening? They found us. Define they, I said, even though I was already grabbing the designer clothes and shoving them into a bag. Minesio's brothers. 3 of them. Jae-won was on his phone, barking orders in rapid Korean. They're in the building. Bypassed security somehow. How did they even? Does it matter? He pulled a gun from somewhere, because apparently that's just normal for him, and checked the clip. We have maybe 5 minutes before they breach the penthouse. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely zip the bag. This is insane. This is absolutely insane. Zara. He grabbed my shoulders, forcing me to look at him. I need you to trust me. Can you do that? I nodded, because what else could I do? Good. There's a private elevator in my office. Leads directly to the parking garage. We go there, get in my car, and drive to one of my safe houses. His eyes were intense. Stay close to me. If anything happens, you run. Got it? I'm not leaving you. Zara. A crash from the living room cut him off. They were inside. Jae-won's expression went cold. Dead. This was the mafia boss everyone feared, and it was terrifying and somehow still hot, which probably said something concerning about my mental state. Stay behind me, he whispered. We crept toward his office. I could hear voices in Korean, angry and getting closer. My heart was hammering so hard I was sure they could hear it. We were almost to the office when a man stepped into the hallway. He was massive, covered in tattoos, and holding a gun that made Jae-won's look like a toy. Kang, he said, smiling. And the whore who ruined my sister's wedding. Watch your mouth, Jae-won said, voice deadly calm. Or what? You'll shoot me? In your own home. The man laughed. My brothers are in the next room. You fire that gun, they come running, and your little girlfriend here becomes a very pretty corpse. Touch her and die. Big words from a man who's outnumbered. His eyes slid to me, and I felt dirty. Minesio wants to meet you. Have a little chat about respect and consequences. Yeah, I'm going to pass on that, I said, because apparently mortal danger turned off my self-preservation instinct. He raised his gun. Everything happened at once. Jae-won fired, the bullet catching the man in the shoulder. He screamed, his own gun going off and shattering a vase behind us. Footsteps pounded toward us from the living room. Run. Jae-won shoved me toward the office. I ran. Behind me, I heard more gunshots, shouting in Korean, Jae-won's voice cutting through it all. I burst into the office and found the elevator, jabbing the button like it owed me money. Come on, come on, come on. The doors opened. I looked back. Jae-won was fighting 2 men now, moving like something out of an action movie. But a third man was sneaking up behind him, gun raised. Jae-won. I screamed. He spun, but he was too slow. The gun fired. Time stopped. Jae-won went down. And I did something monumentally stupid. I ran back. I don't remember grabbing the vase. I don't remember swinging it. But suddenly there was broken porcelain everywhere and a man on the ground clutching his head, and I was kneeling beside Jae-won. Blood. So much blood. No, no, no. My hands were shaking, pressing against his shoulder where the bullet had gone in. You're okay, you have to be okay. Zara, he groaned. I told you to run. Yeah, well, I'm terrible at following instructions. Tears were streaming down my face. Can you move? Unfortunately. More footsteps. The two men he'd been fighting were getting up. Okay, new plan, I said, hauling him to his feet with strength I didn't know I had. We run together or we die together. Very romantic, he gasped, but he was moving. We stumbled into the elevator. I hit the button for the garage. The doors started to close. A hand shot through. One of the brothers, face twisted in rage. Jae-won, even wounded, was faster. He grabbed the man's wrist, twisted, and yanked him halfway into the elevator. Then he slammed the man's head into the elevator wall. Once. Twice. The man crumpled. The doors closed. We were moving. Did you just? He'll live, Jae-won said. Probably. You're bleeding everywhere. Flesh wound. That's not a thing. Flesh wounds aren't a thing. The elevator dinged. Garage level. Jae-won pulled keys from his pocket and clicked a button. Across the garage, a sleek black car's lights flashed. Can you drive? He asked. With a gun to my head, apparently yes. We made it to the car. I shoved him into the passenger seat, ignoring his protests, and climbed behind the wheel. The engine purred to life. Some expensive beast of a car that probably cost more than a house. Where am I going? I asked. Out. Just get us out of the building. I floored it. The car shot forward like a rocket. I barely missed 3 pillars and one very expensive-looking motorcycle. In the rearview mirror, I saw the elevator doors open, saw the brothers pouring out. They're following us, I said. Expected. Jae-won was pressing his jacket against his shoulder, his face pale. Take the east exit. There's less traffic. I took the turn on what felt like 2 wheels. Behind us, 2 black SUVs were gaining. Any other helpful advice? I shouted. Don't crash. Very helpful, thank you. We burst out of the garage into Seoul traffic. Horns blared. People screamed. I wove between cars like I was in a video game, and honestly, maybe this was all a fever dream because there was no way this was my actual life. The SUVs were still behind us. Jae-won, we can't outrun them forever. Take the next left. Then immediate right. He was typing on his phone one-handed. My men are 5 minutes out. We just need to stay alive that long. 5 minutes. In Seoul traffic. With a wounded mafia boss and people actively trying to kill us. No problem. I took the left. Then the right. The car handled like a dream, responsive and fast. We were flying down a narrow street when I saw it. A delivery truck pulling out. Right into our path. Zara. I yanked the wheel hard. We went up on 2 wheels, threading between the truck and a parked car with centimeters to spare. My heart was in my throat, my hands death-gripping the steering wheel. Where did you learn to drive like that? Jae-won asked, sounding impressed despite the whole bleeding thing. Chicago. Where everyone drives like they're personally offended by traffic laws. Behind us, the SUVs weren't as lucky. One clipped the truck, spinning out. But the other was still coming. One down, I muttered. 4 minutes, Jae-won said. A bullet shattered the back window. I screamed and ducked, the car swerving wildly. They're shooting at us. Bulletproof glass, Jae-won said. But keep your head down anyway. This is the worst first date ever. I don't know, it's pretty memorable. Despite everything, the fear, the adrenaline, the actual bullets, I laughed. Because I was either going to laugh or have a complete breakdown, and laughter seemed more productive. 3 minutes, Jae-won said. The SUV rammed us from behind. We shot forward, and I barely kept control. They rammed us again, trying to run us off the road. They really want to kill me, I said. They really want to kill us, Jae-won corrected. I'm the one who called off the wedding, remember? Another bullet. This one hit the side mirror, sending glass flying. How much longer? 2 minutes. We burst onto a main road. More traffic. More innocent people who didn't deserve to be in a high-speed chase. I tried to weave carefully, but the SUV had no such concerns, forcing cars off the road. Jae-won, someone's going to get hurt. I know. His voice was tight. Take the next exit. It leads to an industrial area. No civilians. I took the exit doing about 90. The SUV followed. The industrial area was empty. Warehouses and shipping containers and nowhere to hide. 1 minute, Jae-won said. And then I saw them. 5 black cars, coming from the opposite direction. They boxed in the SUV, forcing it to stop. Jae-won's men. I pulled over, my hands shaking so badly I could barely put the car in park. Is it over? I whispered. For now. I looked at him. Really looked. He was pale, bleeding, and smiling at me like I'd just given him the world. You came back for me, he said. You got shot because of me. Worth it. You're insane. Says the woman who brained a gangster with a vase. That was a very expensive vase, by the way. You're welcome. He laughed, then winced. We should get this looked at. You should get that looked at. I should probably go into witness protection or something. Not happening. His good hand found mine. You're stuck with me now. Is that a threat or a promise? Both. One of his men opened the door. Sir, we need to get you to a doctor. In a minute. Jae-won didn't take his eyes off me. Zara. If you're about to apologize for getting me shot at, save it, I interrupted. I made my choice back there. I could have left you. I didn't. Why? Because somewhere between crashing your wedding and stealing your car, I started to care about you. I squeezed his hand. Also, you owe me $1 million, and dead men don't pay up. Very practical. I'm a practical woman. Liar. He pulled me closer, despite the blood and the pain. You're the most impractical, reckless, beautiful woman I've ever met. Stop talking and let them fix your shoulder. Bossy. You like it? I really do. They loaded him into one of the cars. I climbed in beside him, refusing to let go of his hand. As we drove to wherever they were taking him, I leaned my head against his good shoulder and tried to process the last 12 hours of my life. Wedding crash. Fake engagement. Real feelings. Car chase. Bullets. Hey Jae-won. If we survive this, I want to renegotiate my contract. To what? 2 million. Hazard pay. His laugh was weak but genuine. Deal. We pulled up to what looked like a private medical clinic. Doctors rushed out, taking Jae-won away on a stretcher despite his protests that he could walk. I tried to follow, but a hand on my shoulder stopped me. I turned to find Min-ho, Jae-won's right-hand man, looking at me with something like respect. That was incredibly stupid back there, he said. I know. Also incredibly brave. I know that too. He cares about you. Really cares. Min-ho's expression was serious. Don't break his heart. I'm more worried about him breaking mine. Fair. He gestured toward the clinic. Come on. You should get checked out too. You've got glass in your hair. Of course I do. Inside, they put me in a private room and a nurse fussed over minor cuts I hadn't even noticed. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. It's the adrenaline, the nurse said in perfect English. It'll pass. When? Few hours. Great. I'll just sit here and shake then. She smiled sympathetically and left me alone. My phone buzzed. Keisha, you haven't answered in 6 hours. I'm calling the embassy. Me, I'm fine. Mostly. Kind of. Define fine. Keisha, Zara. Me, we got shot at. I drove a getaway car. Jae-won's in surgery. It's fine. 3 dots. Then. Keisha, I'm booking a flight to Seoul. Me no. It's too dangerous. Keisha, exactly why I'm coming. Someone needs to keep you alive since you clearly can't manage it yourself. Me, Keisha. Keisha, already booked. See you in 14 hours. Try not to die. I stared at my phone. Part of me wanted to argue. The other part desperately wanted my best friend here. The door opened. Minho. He's asking for you. I followed him to a recovery room where Jae-won lay, shoulder bandaged, looking annoyed. They're making me stay overnight, he said as soon as he saw me. For observation. You got shot. That seems reasonable. I've been shot before. It's fine. That's not the flex you think it is. Minho coughed, hiding a smile. I'll give you two some privacy. He left, closing the door behind him. I sat on the edge of the bed. How are you really? Hurts like hell. But I'll live. His good hand found mine. Thank you. For coming back. Thank you for not dying. Very considerate of me. We sat in silence for a moment. Zara, he said finally, we need to talk about what happens next. My stomach dropped. If this is where you tell me this is too dangerous and send me away. No. God, no. He pulled me closer. This is where I tell you that what happened tonight? It's going to happen again. Maybe worse. My world is violent and dangerous, and being with me means accepting that. I know. Do you? Because you almost died tonight. So did you. I'm used to it. You're not. His eyes were intense. I won't blame you if you want out. I'll still pay you, still protect you until it's safe, but I won't force you to stay in this life. I looked at him, this beautiful, dangerous man who'd somehow become important to me in less than a day. The smart thing would be to walk away. Take the money. Go back to my normal, boring, safe life. But I'd never been very smart. I'm staying, I said. Zara. I'm staying, I repeated firmly. Not because of the money. Not because I'm scared of your ex's family. I'm staying because when I thought you might die back there, I realized something. What? I care about you. Like, really care about you. And yeah, it's fast and crazy and probably stupid, but I'd rather have one day of this, of you, than a lifetime of safe and boring. He stared at me. Then he pulled me down and kissed me. This kiss was different from the others. Desperate. Claiming. Like he was trying to tell me everything he couldn't put into words. When we broke apart, both breathing hard, he rested his forehead against mine. You're going to be the death of me, he whispered. Nah. I just saved your life. I think that means you owe me. Name it. When you're healed, you're taking me on a proper date. No guns. No car chases. Just us. Deal. He kissed me again, softer this time. Stay with me tonight? Hospital sleepover. So romantic. I'm wounded. Work with me here. I laughed and curled up next to him, careful of his shoulder. His arm came around me, holding me close. Zara. I'm glad you crashed my wedding. Me too. We fell asleep like that, wrapped around each other, while Seoul continued its chaotic existence outside. When I woke up a few hours later, Jae-won was still asleep, his face peaceful in a way I'd never seen. I took a picture because I was definitely that person. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. My blood ran cold when I opened it. It was a photo of my mother, walking into her apartment in Chicago. The message below was simple: back off, or she's next. I stared at the phone, my whole body going numb. They knew about my mother. They knew where she lived. They were threatening her. I looked at Jae-won, still sleeping, still healing from a bullet he took because of me. I thought about Keisha, flying here to help me. I thought about everyone I loved being in danger because I'd made the selfish choice to stay. And I realized that caring about Jae-won wasn't enough. I had to protect the people I loved, even if it meant breaking both our hearts. I carefully extracted myself from his arms. He stirred but didn't wake. I found paper and a pen, my hands shaking as I wrote. I'm sorry. I can't do this. Not if it means putting my family in danger. The money doesn't matter. Nothing matters if my mom gets hurt because of me. Please don't try to find me. You'll be safer without me. Thank you for making me feel alive, even if it was just for a day. Z. I left the note on the nightstand. I took one last look at him, memorizing everything. The line of his jaw, the way his hair fell across his forehead, the rise and fall of his chest. Then I walked out. Min-ho was in the hallway, and from the look on his face, he knew exactly what I was doing. Don't, he said quietly. I have to. He'll come after you. Tell him not to. Tell him I was just in it for the money. Tell him whatever you need to, but keep him safe. My voice broke. Please. Min-ho studied me for a long moment. Then he nodded once. I walked out of the clinic and into the Seoul morning. I had $40 in my pocket, no plan, and a broken heart. But my mother would be safe. That had to be enough. My phone buzzed one last time as I walked away. Jae-won, where are you? I turned off my phone before I could change my mind. Some love stories don't get happy endings. I just have to learn to live with that. Did Zara make the right choice? Will Jae-won find her? Drop a comment and let me know. Don't forget to subscribe for part 2. This story is just getting started.